Did you know that the man who founded the McDonald's empire, the biggest fast food chain in the history of the world, was a 52-year-old traveling salesman? A man who had spent his entire life jumping from job to job, selling paper cups and milkshake machines. A man who was considered by many to be a failure. How is that possible? How does a man, at an age when most people are planning for retirement, start a revolution that would change the way the entire world eats? This isn't the happy story they show you in the commercials. This is the real, raw, and ruthless story of Ray Kroc. It's the story of a desperate salesman who stumbled upon a tiny hamburger stand in the middle of the desert and saw a vision for a global empire that no one else could see. And the story of how he got it is one of the most shocking and inspirational in business history. Our story begins in the 1950s. Ray Kroc is 52 years old, and his life is not a success story. He's a traveling salesman, driving across the country selling 5-spindle milkshake machines. It's a grind. He faces rejection every single day. He has tried and failed at numerous other ventures. He's not rich, he's not famous. He's just a guy trying to make a living. One day, he's looking at his sales records and he notices something strange. A single, tiny hamburger stand in San Bernardino, California, has ordered 8 of his milkshake machines. 8! That means they are making 40 milkshakes at the same time. Ray is stunned. He thinks it must be a mistake. What kind of tiny restaurant needs to make 40 milkshakes at once? His curiosity gets the best of him. He decides to drive across the country to see this place for himself. When he arrives, he can't believe his eyes. He sees a small, simple, octagonal building, and he sees a line, a massive line of happy customers, bigger than he has ever seen at any restaurant in his life. He gets in the line himself, and within seconds, he has a hot, delicious hamburger, fresh French fries, and a milkshake. He is blown away. It's the best hamburger he's ever had. But it wasn't the food that was the real genius. It was the system. He introduces himself to the owners, 2 brothers named Dick and Mac McDonald. The brothers invite him to see their kitchen, and what Ray sees changes his life forever. The kitchen was unlike anything he had ever witnessed. It was not a kitchen, it was a factory, a perfectly synchronized, highly efficient burger-making machine. The McDonald brothers had spent years perfecting their speedy service system. Every single step of the process was optimized for speed and quality. They had designed custom-made grills, condiment dispensers, and fry stations. Each employee had one specific job. One person grilled, one person put on the condiments, one person fried. It was a beautiful, efficient ballet of fast food production. This is why they needed 8 of his milkshake machines. They were serving hundreds of customers an hour. Ray Kroc had his eureka moment. He saw the future. He realized that the McDonald brothers had invented a revolutionary system, but they didn't understand what they had. They were happy with their one successful restaurant, but Ray, the salesman, saw the bigger picture. He didn't just see a hamburger stand, he saw 1,000 of them, all across America, all running the exact same perfect system. He went to the brothers with a proposal. Let him franchise McDonald's. Let him sell the right to open McDonald's restaurants to other business owners across the country. The brothers were skeptical. They had tried franchising before, and it had been a disaster. They couldn't control the quality. But Ray was a master salesman. He was persistent. He was passionate. Finally, they agreed. They signed a contract that gave Ray Kroc the right to franchise their brand. In exchange, the brothers would get a tiny percentage of the profits. And so, at 52 years old, Ray Kroc, the milkshake machine salesman, began his new career as the founder of the McDonald's Corporation. He opened his first franchise in Des Plaines, Illinois, but he quickly ran into a massive problem. The contract he had signed with the brothers was terrible. The percentage he earned from the franchises was so small that after his expenses, he was barely making any money. The company was growing, but Ray Kroc himself was going broke. He was working harder than ever before, but he was trapped by a bad deal. He was on the verge of another failure. This is the moment that separates the dreamers from the doers. Ray was frustrated, he was desperate, but he did not quit. One day, he was complaining about his financial problems to a young financial expert. And that expert gave him a single piece of advice that would change everything. The expert told him, "Ray, you are not in the hamburger business. You are in the real estate business." Ray had another epiphany, a brilliant and ruthless new idea. He created a new company, a real estate company. This company would buy the land that the new McDonald's restaurants would be built on. Then he would lease that land to the franchisee, the person running the restaurant. This was a genius move. Now he wasn't just making a tiny percentage from the hamburger sales. He was making a steady, guaranteed income from the rent of every single McDonald's location. This new business model gave him the cash flow he needed to grow the empire. It was a game changer. But it also put him in direct conflict with the McDonald brothers. They had created the food, the name, and the system, but Ray Kroc had now created the financial engine that would turn it into a global empire. And he was not going to let them stand in his way. The relationship between Ray and the brothers became toxic. Ray wanted to grow faster, to make changes. The brothers were conservative and wanted to protect the quality of their original creation. Finally, Ray decided he needed to get rid of them. He offered to buy them out completely. He asked them to name their price. The brothers, wanting to be set for life, asked for $2.7 million, a huge sum at the time. Ray had to borrow money from everywhere. He took out massive loans. He bet everything he had. He agreed to their price. But in a final handshake deal, the brothers also asked for a small percentage of all future profits. When it came time to sign the final papers, that handshake deal was mysteriously left out of the contract. Ray pressured them to sign, saying it was a complicated legal issue. The brothers, tired and wanting to be done, signed the paper. That handshake deal, which would have been worth hundreds of millions of dollars a year today, was never honored. Ray Kroc now had total control. He was free to build his empire his way, and he did. McDonald's exploded across the globe. Ray Kroc became one of the most successful and powerful businessmen in American history. The man who started at 52, broke and desperate, had finally achieved his dream. The story of Ray Kroc is a complex one. It's a story of incredible vision, unstoppable persistence, and a will to win that bordered on obsession. It teaches us that it is never too late to start. It proves that a great idea can come from anywhere, at any time. But it's also a cautionary tale. It shows that the path to building an empire is often paved with ruthless decisions and broken promises. Ray Kroc didn't invent the hamburger. He didn't even invent the McDonald's system. But he was the only one with the vision, the drive, and the sheer audacity to see what it could become.